The 111th edition of the Roy's Boys podcast starts right now.
Carolina basketball family is the strongest there's ever been, there ever will be.
Nate Humphrey hands King Rice the ball. Pushes into Hubert Davis. 8 seconds. Davis trying to get free. Over to Fox. Fox, baseline. Up for the shot. Good! Off the glass! Oklahoma calls timeout, but the game is over! The game is over! Carolina has upset number 1 Oklahoma! And ready on his second attempt. That one is no good. They battle for it. Loose ball. Recovered Marvin. He scores!
With 20 seconds left to play, goes back to Michael Jordan. Jumper from out on the left. Good! 63, 62, 13, 12, 11. Georgetown with one timeout. Fred Brown looking. Oh, way to Worthy. Worthy 5. The Tar Heels are going to win the national championship.
Carolina with foul. He takes the timeout. They're out of timeout. Technical foul. Technical foul. Brown gets it into Williams. Here comes Williams front court. Williams on the drive. Gets it back out to head. Long outside shot. Short rebounded. May. It's over. Carolina has won the national championship. And how about them Tar Heels? They are the national champions.
The Tar Heels are the national daggum champions.
You competed. And that's what it takes to win big-time games. You've got to compete. You do it with your brain, and you got to do it with your heart, too. And that's pretty doggone good.
From QCBroadcasting.com, this is the Roy's Boys podcast with your host, Josh Marlowe. Hey everybody, welcome into another edition of the Roy's Boys podcast. We are powered by Carolina Electrical Services. Anthony, it is officially Duke Week as Carolina and Duke will renew the greatest rivalry not only in college basketball, sorry to Kentucky and Louisville fans, this is easily light years better than that rivalry, but the greatest rivalry in American sports. Hasn't been the year for Carolina that we're accustomed to having, but you can still tell by every time you turn on a college basketball broadcast this week, and even on College Game Day, the first 2 weeks of the show, Carolina is still being talked about because of what's wrong with them. So even though it's not the same in terms of the hype, this is a game that we're still all excited about.
I mean, look, they've been showing ads for this for 2 weeks. So, yeah, I mean, anybody that tries to still make the argument that Kentucky and Louisville is, you know, the peak rivalry in college basketball is nuts, because let's be real honest, when we talk about the greatest rivalries, and we do this every single time that we talk about this game, I mean, how many other rivalries can you actually really compare to this, where the statistics are so close? The only other one that I think will come anywhere close is the Yankees and the Red Sox, but that's only because they play each other so much in the regular season in Major League Baseball. I think the hatred's there as well, but I don't think it's as deep as this. Some people want to make that argument for Louisville and Kentucky. I mean, look, I don't think that, you know, it's that over the top, because I feel like here in this rivalry, you have a lot of Duke fans and Carolina fans that are Panthers fans, that are Hornets fans. So you do have areas where they kind of group together. Louisville and Kentucky, you don't have professional teams really to get excited about. That's the argument that everybody wants to make. But let's be real honest. I mean, this is the team that we hate the most with a passion. And, you know, I mean, you look at the guys that have been involved in this rivalry just throughout the years. The coaches, Dean Smith, Roy Williams, Coach K. It's been amazing. The players, I mean, you're talking about, you know, for Carolina, MJ, Antoine Jameson, Vince Carter, who were stars in the series. And then you talk about the Duke players, Grant Hill, that participated in the series, JJ Redick, guys like those. And then even when we talk about, you know, in the modern times here, it's the rivalry has never changed. It's always been great, and it's always going to be great. And that's the best part. That's why I think we love it so much. And yeah, you know, this entire week is one of those weeks where you love to poke fun, but when it's game day, it's one of those games that you know it's a big rivalry, because I know you personally have experienced it. You are the one that you can't really focus on anything else during the day of the actual game. You have to be locked in, because it means that much.
Yeah, the next time you want to go for 2.5 minutes, ask for permission. No,
Unbelievable.
Everything you said was right. The only rivalry that maybe rivals Duke Carolina is probably me and wanting to eat healthy and me continuing to be fat and lazy and eat junk food 7 days a week.
So you versus the gym, a very common adversary. Yeah. Yeah.
But so we're gonna get you. You guys know us. When it's a Duke game, this is what gets focused on, and we're gonna get you ready. Starting with the opening tip. This is the opening tip. And so we're going to spend the opening tip today, not making you guys go through an interview. We're just going to look at stats from the rivalry, as every year these things get brought up, because I think even though they're always neck and neck, it's still just unbelievable how close they are. This will be the 252nd all-time meeting between Duke and Carolina. This is actually the 100th anniversary of the rivalry. First time these two teams met in 1920, January 24th. A 36-25 Carolina victory over Duke, which at the time wasn't even named Duke. They were Trinity College.
Yeah.
That just shows you just how far back this rivalry dates, and also the scoring. And back then, 36-25, that was high-scoring basketball. Teams that scored in the 30s were considered around an up-tempo, fast style of pace. Now, that's, 36-25, that's how Virginia likes to play because, well, they can't score.
To be fair, I think Carolina could probably finish this game with 36 points if they shoot the way they did the other night from the field.
Yeah, it's possible.
Very possible. Yeah.
The largest margin of victories in the rivalry, Carolina's is 37. That was in 1921. Duke's is 35. That was in 1964. The longest win streak in the rivalry is owned by Carolina. They won 16 straight from 1921 to 1928. That's really the separation where this rivalry is those 16 straight games back in the 20s made it to where, unless that happens again, which we don't ever think it'll happen, Carolina will probably always lead this rivalry just from that small stretch of games back in the early 20s. Look at currently, Roy Williams, not the best record against Duke. He's 16-20, 9-7 in Cameron, 8-8 at home in the Smith Center, only 1-3 against the Blue Devils in the ACC tournament. But he's made it respectable after that 3-year stretch where we couldn't beat them for forever.
Right.
And of course, the best stat. Last 100 meetings, 50 wins for Duke, 50 wins for Carolina. They've scored the exact same amount of points. That's almost impossible to even fathom that happening.
Oh, yeah.
And, I mean, that's where we're at. I think that whenever we talk about why this rivalry is great, it's because of that. You go look at any other rivalry, you look at the last 100 games, it's not going to be even wins with the same amount of points scored.
Yeah, Kentucky's absolutely dominating that series.
And they haven't even played more than 50 or so odd times.
Exactly. Also, look at how early in the year they play. I get that it's an out-of-conference game, but let's be real honest. If they wanted to put that in the middle of the conference schedule, they could make it work out if it was that big of a rivalry. They play on a football Sunday most of the time. So, yeah, if you were really that big of a rivalry, you would not be playing on that day. But you know what? Let's just move on from that. But yeah, no, you're right. And it's one of the reasons why with this rivalry, no matter what state you're in coming into it, you're going to have a chance to win this game. It's happened countless times where either side has come in struggling while the other side is looking up having a great season. You just never know. You got to come prepared because it really is different. There's a different atmosphere around this game no matter where it is. If it's in Chapel Hill or if it's in Durham. Either way, you've got to come prepared for this game. And, we always talk about this game being the one that, look, if you can't get motivated for this game, you probably should not be playing basketball because there is there needs to be extra motivation. This Carolina team is 10-12. Pretty much everybody has said their season is over. It does not matter. They should still be able to come in with maximum effort in this game and be right in the thick of it, if not win this game. when they meet at 6 o'clock on Saturday.
Yeah, with that, we're going to go ahead and start breaking down this game. And look, we'll start with Duke. Duke is what we knew they were going to be entering the year. Duke is what we thought they were going to be the last 5 to 6 years. You can argue when they roll out the ball on the floor, they've got the most talent of any team in college basketball. They are gifted inside. They've got guys on the perimeter that can score. Coach K hasn't lost his ability to make in-game adjustments or adjust to the strengths of his teams and really hide the weakness of his team. They've done a really phenomenal job after losing at home to Stephen F. Austin early in the year, where they were kind of learning how to play with each other. They've ripped off 4 straight wins after losing at home to Louisville. They're 9-2 in the ACC. They're the 3rd highest scoring team in college basketball. They lead the ACC in scoring. So Duke is what we thought they were going to be.
They're pretty good, apparently.
Yeah. Vernon Carey Jr. is a man on the interior.
Yeah, he's a stud.
He's a problem.
Yeah.
They've got guys that'll spot out on the perimeter and make 3-pointers. The biggest thing that I don't think has gotten talked enough about why Duke is really good, and look, I roasted Trey Jones on this podcast after Kobe White cooked him back in March, which, by the way, I don't know if you remember that play that Kobe dribbled through 4 players.
Here we go, yep. Who would have thought that would be brought up?
That was an NBA-type move. And it's no wonder why Kobe White's doing Kobe White things in the NBA.
That team's trying to make the playoffs. How about the Bulls trying to make the playoffs?
Okay, let's get back on track.
I'm just saying.
But I was very quick to criticize him when he was thinking about going pro because he wasn't ready to go pro.
He wasn't. Yeah, no, you're right about that.
And he came back. He's more comfortable running a team, both on the offensive end of the floor. Defensively, he's as good as perimeter guard there is, not only in the ACC and college basketball. Right. He is going to terrorize Cole Anthony in this ball game. I think that's why they are a legitimate threat to win the national championship, because as good as you got to have interior play, and Duke hasn't had that in years past. That's why you've seen Coach K go beef up the interior. What wins in March?
Big man play.
Guard play. Wrong answer. I expected you to know that answer. Guard play.
Big man play can win it too. If you can bang down low, because remember when they made the run back in 15, they had Jahlil Okafor. But
also Tyus Jones made big time plays. Grayson Allen broke out. Guard play really dictates and same for Carolina. You got to have big guys in the paint, but Carolina doesn't win in 17 without Joel Berry. They don't win in 09 without Ty Lawson. His ability to lock down defenders, I think, has been overlooked from the national media because it's
defense isn't sexy. Let's be honest.
Well, it's also when Carey's giving you 17 points, 9 rebounds, and shooting 60%. That's easier to talk about that,
right?
But I think that's one of the things about this Duke team is that Coach K built Duke on being very good as a individual defense playing pressure. And over the years, I mean, heck, we've seen a couple of years they've had to play zone because they couldn't guard the man.
Mm-hmm.
They're now able to lock players up one-on-one. That's going to cause a problem for a Carolina team that even if they were healthy, we knew coming in wasn't going to be a great shooting team. They're going to have to find some ways to get some offense in this game.
Oh, yeah. I mean, everything you're saying about Duke is spot on. Carey's got it all. You didn't talk about the guy that I think a lot of people just kind of forget about on that team, Cassius Stanley, who's having a great year. I mean, that's the problem with them. There are so many different guys that can hurt you on the floor. And that's why Carolina's got to be prepared. Everybody's got to give max effort in this game because and you know, they do a great job. You know, Jake Lawrence has come on my podcast and talked to me before. He does a great job for keeping it heel. They put out a tweet where they said that Carolina was the more talented team. I don't think that is true. I'm just being very honest here. Carolina is not the more talented team. That's why in this game, heart is what matters. And I just said it earlier. If you can't get yourself ready to go for this game, there are no other games on the schedule that you're going to get yourself ready to go for. This has to be the one that you are psyched up for. If you lose, you lose. As long as you put in the effort, You can't ask for any more because this team, you're right, third highest scoring team in college basketball, they're going to put up points. And right now, this Tar Heel team is not built to be in a track meet. Now, here's the thing. If they want to win